Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're going to talk about something that affects all of us, career risk. And we're going to lean on the brilliant insights of Rory Sutherland to completely flip how you think about it. Turns out, the biggest gamble you can take might not be what you think at all.
So let me ask you something, and I want you to really think about it. What is the single biggest risk in your career? Is it, quitting that stable job? Or maybe starting a new venture? Or is it something else? Something hiding in plain sight?
Okay, so here's the thing. Our brains are hardwired to freak out about the obvious risks, right? Leaving a job means losing a paycheck. That's real, you can count it, it's scary. But Roy Sutherland's point is that the real danger, the one we should be paying attention to, is the hidden risk of staying put. It's what economists call opportunity cost, all that amazing, unseen potential you just give up by staying stuck. So let's dig into that first point, the risk of staying put. You see, our brains evolved to think that doing the same thing over and over is safe. And for most of human history, it was. But in the modern world of work, well, that instinct can be a total trap. Let's break down why. And this quote from Sutherland really nails it. The boring route to riches, I don't think it exists anymore. Think about that. The old deal, the one where you show up, you're loyal, you keep your head down, and the company takes care of you for life? That social contract has been ripped up. That safe, predictable ladder to success, it's pretty much gone.
All right, Section 2, deconstructing the safe path. So if that corporate job isn't the secure haven it used to be, let's pull back the curtain and see what's really going on.
Sutherland has this really provocative idea, and it might sting a little. He says that in a typical corporate environment, something like 70% of what you do is, in his words, some kind of ass covering. It's not about creating value, it's about making sure you can't be blamed if something goes wrong. It's about building a paper trail.
And this is the real price you pay for that so-called safety. Your gut feeling, your intuition, your actual judgment, it gets pushed aside for these rigid, blame-proof processes. You end up spending the vast majority of your time on this, defensive work, instead of actually creating something valuable or generating revenue. The system is built for safety, not for success. And you can see how the private sector starts to feel just as bureaucratic as the public sector.
Okay, so if that old, safe path is broken, what do? How do you build a new one? Well, the answer isn't to try and plan every single step perfectly. It's about learning how to get lucky.
So how in the world do you engineer luck? I mean, that sounds crazy, right? But Sutherland has this fantastic rule of thumb. It's not about quitting your job and throwing caution to the wind. It's about changing how you allocate your resources. And the magic number is 20%. 20% of your resources, that means your time, your energy, maybe even a little bit of your money, should be dedicated to exploratory activities where you have no idea what the outcome will be. This is about deliberately setting aside time for things you're just curious about without needing a guaranteed payoff. It's going to that random conference, grabbing coffee with someone in a totally different field. These are the places where those lucky breaks and game-changing ideas come from.
And this explains why that 20% of just messing around is so critical. See, success isn't this steady step-by-step climb. It's what's called fat-tailed. That means a tiny, tiny number of things that happen to you. A chance meeting, one random idea, a single decision will end up determining almost all of your success. So your job isn't to climb the ladder. Your job is to increase the chances of one of those game-changing moments happening to you.
All right, so if the world is this uncertain, random place, how are you supposed to make good decisions? You need a better set of tools. Let's talk about 3 powerful mental models you can add to your toolkit right now. First up, we've got to stop trying to be perfect. This idea comes from the amazing poker player Annie Duke. You have to learn to separate the quality of your decision from the quality of the outcome. You can make a brilliant, perfectly reasoned choice and still lose because of bad luck. The goal isn't to be right every single time. The goal is to consistently make smart bets with the information you have.
Second, use this genius filter from Jeff Bezos. Before you make a big decision, ask yourself, is this a one-way door or a two-way door? A one-way door is permanent, irreversible. A two-way door, you can just walk right back through it if you don't like what's on the other side. You'll realize that most career moves, taking a new job, starting a side hustle, even moving cities, are actually two-way doors. They feel way more permanent than they really are.
And finally, one of my favorites, inversion. This is such a powerful tool for getting unstuck. Our brains are always focused on, how do I succeed? What's the path to success?
Inversion forces you to flip the entire problem on its head. Instead, you ask, what would absolutely guarantee I fail? And then, you just avoid doing those things. It's amazing how much clarity that can bring.
And here's the perfect example Sutherland gives. So imagine this couple. They're debating whether to sell their expensive house in London and move somewhere cheaper. They're stuck. Now let's use the inversion test. Imagine a different couple, one who already lives in a beautiful, cheap house in the countryside with £1 million in the bank. Would they ever say to each other, you know what, darling? Let's sell all this, move to a smaller place in an expensive city, and go back to work for 5 more years? Of course not. It's ridiculous. The fact that the reverse scenario is so absurd tells you everything you need to know about your current path.
Okay, so this is all building to a really critical final point. The goal here isn't just about changing jobs or making smarter bets. It's about fundamentally rethinking what success even means to you.
And this quote captures it perfectly. When everybody else zigs, zag. We are social creatures, right? We can't help but look at what everyone else is doing and measure our own success against theirs. But the biggest wins, the most incredible outcomes, they almost always come from deliberately choosing a different path, a different game, a different definition of what it means to win.
And this story about the restaurant 11 Madison Park is the perfect example of a zag. They wanted to be the #1 restaurant in the world. But instead of just trying to be a better version of the current #1, they asked a different question. What does the #1 restaurant do poorly? And they realized it was stuff like coffee and beer service. So they became obsessed. They hired a coffee slayer and a beer sommelier. They became completely remarkable by being different, not by being a better copy of someone else.
So that's the question we'll leave you with. In a world where everybody is zigging, chasing the same promotions, the same titles, the same definition of success, what is your zag? You know, the biggest risk isn't betting on yourself. The biggest risk is playing it safe for 20 years, only to look back and realize the one opportunity you truly missed was the one that actually mattered to you. So, what does success look like on your own terms?